Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Lumio Palooza global event, where we are providing fun, fresh PD opportunities highlighting how Lumio can provide a fluid workflow that benefits teachers and students. We will show you how to create lessons and activities focused on a variety of topics, including classroom instructional strategies. My name is Jennifer Underwood, and I am a customer success manager from Florida. This webinar, Light Up Your Professional Learning Session with Lumio, features Monica Alicea, Professional Learning Specialist from Marietta, Georgia. We encourage participation. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat box during the presentation, and we will either integrate them into the flow or hold them to be answered at the end during our Q&A period. Supporting you in the chat today is Emily Rowe. She will be sharing resources from today's webinar as we go along. Also, for participating today, a certificate will be provided for download after you complete a brief survey at the end of the session. At this point, I'm going to turn things over to Monica so that we can dive into today's webinar, Light Up Your Professional Learning Sessions with Lumio.
Hey everyone, thank you, Jennifer. I'm very excited to be here with you. I am Monica Alicea. I am a professional learning specialist, and I'm a retired educator with 32 years of teaching experience, and I absolutely love Lumio, and I'm excited to share this with you today. So if you'd like to join me, you can scan the QR code or join as a guest, and Jennifer's also putting the direct link in the chat. We would love to have you interact with the session, so you can see it both from the participant side as well as the educator side or your coaching side. Give you a couple minutes to do that. And I know Jennifer has the link in the chat.
Yep, Emily's adding it. I love all the different ways that you can connect. Students can easily connect.
Yes, absolutely. Makes it really easy. Okay. So what we're going to talk today about is when you're giving a professional learning session, some things that you can use Lumio for to make it more engaging are some pulse checks to see where teachers are at, to promote discussion, because we all have those professional learning sessions where nobody wants to participate. So this will be an opportunity to have some discussion, and for your educators to demonstrate understanding of what you've shared with them. So we're going to kick it off. So the first thing I like to do when I'm giving a professional learning session is to see how familiar my audience is with the tool that I'm sharing. Because if all of them have used it, are active in it, then it helps me know that I need to tweak it maybe a little bit as I'm going along. So this is a wonderful pulse check, and you can go ahead and try it out for yourself. I love this one. This is in the Lumio library, so you can find it. It's like you can edit the directions, you can edit the circles. So I edited this to say, and I'm actually framing this around AI in the classroom because that's a hot topic right now, and we're all diving into that. So I just figured I would use that as a general topic to talk about professional learning and using Lumio. So you can place a sticky note on the circle that best represents your comfort level with AI in the classroom. So no thanks, not in my classroom. I don't even want to deal with it. Interested but cautious, trying out and seeing the possibilities, love it, consistently use it. So how do you all feel? Why don't you go ahead and fill out a sticky note and put that on there and kind of give everyone the opportunity to see what that looks like?
It looks like maybe you need to make it a whole class whiteboard.
Okay, I thought I had already done that, so let's just do that right now.
No
Sorry.
worries, because look how easy it is to do, right? If
Yes,
you're in the middle of teaching.
Again, everything is wonderful with Lumio. All I had to do was
Yeah.
click the people, and now it's a whole class whiteboard. But I thought, Jennifer, I thought I'd done that when we were working.
Yeah, I know. It happens to me all the time.
Great. So now your sticky notes are all coming up, and that gives you, as the instructor of your professional learning, a way to see, okay, not too many are not even willing to learn about it. Look at all these people that are really, that use it all the time. You use AI, some, so that's great. So I can see that, all right, some people are ready to dive in, so I can adapt my sessions as needed, but I still have quite a few that are cautious about it. So I want to make sure I use some encouraging words and examples to help teachers feel better about it. And I can, as just so you know, I can move the sticky note. Sometimes it's best to lock them, but I can move it. Oh, I love that. AI and I are best friends. So that's good. All right, so this is just an example. I'm not going to go over all the responses, but just to show you how you can use this in your professional learning session. Thank
I
you
love
for
it.
participating.
That like heat map kind of gives you
Yes.
that quick glance to be able to really inform your session that you're conducting.
Yes. Okay, so this is another way that you can engage your audience and check out how they're feeling about it. So this is, again, right in Lumio. So if you'll go ahead and just answer one of these questions. So I'm totally using AI tools. I mostly understand the possibilities, but I have questions. I'm cautiously exploring. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Again, this is already built in, and you can just change the question and change the response choices.
I think we have to start the activity.
Okay, hold on a second.
Head to the gear.
The gear.
Oh, I think because we played with it. Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
There you go.
There we go.
And so again, so quick and easy. So this is what happens when you run through your presentation first. I didn't reset everything, so, but so easy to fix. And a learning tool too, for new users to Lumio. Okay.
And I love how even in response, you could just have one question. You could just throw that one activity up there. You get the data, you get everything that you need to know, what do I do next? And how do I
And then
keep
you can
this
see
data? Yeah.
that C is the highest right now, so cautiously exploring. So again, that helps you when you're doing your professional learning to see, okay, they're interested, so let me reassure them that it's a good thing to use. And you can see that's the highest number. So that's another choice for just gauging your audiences, just doing that pulse check, like where is your audience when you're in the middle of your training. And then you can also use your people that are like, I'm totally using AI tools. You can help solicit responses from them of how they're using it to encourage the others that might need a little push. Okay, so another thing we need to do is to activate prior knowledge. Activate prior knowledge. And that's even important for our adult learners. Okay, so we do that for our students, but it's really also important for our adult learners. When we're starting a session, we want to see what they already know. So one of the ways that I do this is with an entrance ticket. And the entrance ticket is a great way for you to allow everyone to type in the responses and see what those responses are. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is started. Okay.
And these ready-mades are awesome. You don't have to make them pretty. They just are already there, right?
Right.
You just add those instructions and away you go.
So image generation. Ooh, check the tone of my emails. I like that.
That's a good way to use it.
Develop robust lesson plans. Another thing, when you're using a whole class whiteboard, it's with kids, not necessarily with adults. Adults know, okay, if I'm overlapping somebody's response, just to move it. But for those of you who are new to Lumio, if you're ever using this with students also, you can remind them of like personal space and how to, if you see somebody's already typing, just move your response. Okay. develop robust lesson plans. So yes, now, and this is, and you all are actually, a lot of you are putting it in the classroom, how you're using it. In real life, there's also ways that we use AI, right? With our GPS and predictive text and things like that. So there's a lot of ways in our everyday life we also use AI. So great. Thank you. So you can see, oh, and I like somebody changed theirs to green, so it stands out a little bit. So that's good. But that's a way that you can use it with, and you can also make this an individual handout. If you don't want it to be whole class, you can make it individual, and then you can just view each person's response. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for response. I kind of like this one. This is a word search. So you can make your word searches as easy or as difficult as you want. So I made this one with no key. So ways we use the AI, and then you can try to find the words that that you can, that you can figure out that are AI, and you can click for a hint if you need it. Now, of course, if I were using it with kids, I might do it, I wouldn't probably do it so hard, but with adults, this is a great way to see what they're learning. And you can do this individually. You all have access to it, but you could also ask volunteers to come. If you were doing an in-person training, you could have volunteers come up to the board and actually find the words, and that makes them get out of their seat and become more engaged. So,
Monica, there's a question in the chat I thought was really great that could come back to. Do you mind going back one page?
nope, not at all.
Awesome. It just asks, Amy asks, how do you know who typed the responses? Thinking about secondary students, that accountability, that supervision.
So for this, I don't believe that I had that you had to put your name on it.
We'll just so yeah, there you go, and use the little pull down.
Oops. Here, let me go to this one since it's up here. That's how you can see it though, if you needed to. So I did. So you can just click the little pull down to see who added it.
Yep.
If you
It's
really,
nice.
yeah. So when you're in a big training, you might not be, you might, especially if something like this, because this one is more open-ended and you just wanted to see what people know. But if you were doing something smaller, or if you were using this, for example, because there's also some exit tickets, that's where you would want to know each individual's name. So yes, just click on the drop down arrow, the pull down, and that's where you see it.
So since this is a whole class whiteboard, everybody's attributions show up. But if you want to remove their names, then you could use a shout it out, and you could keep it anonymous. And I think that's the conversation that's happening in the chat. They're all very excited about having different options for being able to have that risk-free environment, or help with checking in on students.
Yes. And notice that the names don't show up right here. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So back to the word search. I don't know if any of you tried it or found any.
Yeah,
but
somebody's asking how to make one. So maybe that's something towards, I don't know if you have time to do it now, or if we want to
I think
look at
it
that
should,
at the end.
yeah, let's go ahead and show it real quick, because I think we'll be good. All right. So one thing I do love about Lumio also is if I'm in the middle of a lesson and somebody asks a question like that, I can just click on here and I'm going to go to edit the lesson just to show you, so I don't have to go out and come back in. If I click the plus sign at the bottom, whatever slide I'm on, so it'll go to the next, it'll make it the next slide. So I click the plus sign, and then I can go to game-based activities. And I can go to word search, which is down here. And I click on that. And then you can title it. And let's just say, I'm just going to call it favorite or vacation spots. I'm just going to do something real quick. And then you just enter the words. And I can say beach. I can say park, mountains. Okay, so whoops. So you can do as many words as you want. And then you put how many letters you want your grid size to make it easier or harder. Okay. And then you can make it easy, moderate, or difficult. So I made that one difficult, but I'll just show you an easy one. And then you can show the word list or not show the word list. So I did not show the word list. Okay. And then you just click next. And you can pick a background if you want. You can even do a custom background, and you can upload a picture that goes with your theme of your lesson that you're talking about. And I'm going to choose the firefly because I like the firefly, and I'm just going to click finish. Okay, and there's my word search, and you can preview the activity to see what it looks like. Of course, they just threw in a lot of letters, but I only had 3 words, and that's what it looks like. And I love it. It's a great engaging one. Again, if you're doing it if you're doing it in person, it's great to have people come up to the board and try to find the words. And they could even talk to each other to help each other out. All right, so I'm going to delete that slide just because we are sharing this resource with everyone, and I don't want anybody to get confused about that. So I'm going to delete that page. And then I'm just going to go finish editing, and I'm back to my presentation. So that's something I love. If I have to add something in the middle of a presentation, it's great to do.
Yeah. And the question came up in the chat that it said teacher hasn't started the activity, but now that you've restarted the lesson, everybody gets pulled back into the class. So
Yes.
that's awesome. They don't
Yes,
have to
right.
worry about finding a new tab or re-adding themselves. They're
Right.
already in your lesson.
And it freezes it for everybody who's in the system already in the game, and then it will go back. All right, so are we good with word search? Okay.
I love all the different games. And I love how you're using them in a way to really lead your PD session.
Yes, I think it's important to, my last 5 years I was an instructional technology coach, and these last 2 years I've been doing consulting, and so especially when you're doing virtual trainings, it's really hard to get people because people are multitasking. But even in those professional learning sessions, you can see that people are checking their emails and doing everything else. So you want to keep them engaged. And that's why I love Lumio to do that. So on that, the next thing I would do is add a sharing activity. So the learners can post on a whole class whiteboard, and then you could have volunteers share. So on the next one, I did do a whole class whiteboard. Now for this, we're just going to play with this. If you know how, so a lot of you talked about using it for AI images, so you probably already have a site that you go to, but there's Microsoft Designer. There's just in the Edge browser, I know you can type in that you want an image so if you can find one, if not, you can just put any image in there, and I can show you how to do that if you need to. But on this one, it's another way to then, so I'm asking you to share an AI image that you've created, and I'll show you how it can then turn into a discussion. Now you could have this for any other topic. So somebody's already shared their AI image. So after you see some, then you can ask who would be willing to share the prompt that they put. Oh, look at these images. I love it.
Cool. And I love to use this as like a place, like a virtual poster, right?
Yes.
A way to get input from everyone. And like you said, have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
And then you as the teacher can resize them, or you can ask, everyone will, especially in a professional learning, everyone will probably know to resize it and move it around where it can be seen. And it depends on how big your professional learning session is. If you wanted to make this a whole class whiteboard, Or if you wanted to make it an individual handout, with an individual handout, you can still share them. I know I was doing, I was teaching a gifted endorsement class, and there was something that they had to put an image, but I did it individually. And then you can go through each student or each participant and ask them if they're willing to share. And then you could show theirs and then have a discussion about it.
So while the images are populating, if the question came up about like how do students put images onto their page, all of the tools that you see on the left-hand side that Monica has access to, even in delivery mode, students also have access to, except for that little gear at the bottom.
Right.
So that's where students would add their image.
Right. So you would click this symbol, and then we now have stickers, which is, if you want them eventually, I'm going to show you something in another slide to use stickers. But here is an image. But then when you go to, they can select an image from their computer or from their phone or whatever you're using. But if you also wanted to do online images, you can click here. For this, since we were asking you to generate an image, that's where they would probably select one from one they saved. I love these images. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a quick screenshot.
Yeah.
And
which AI generator like when you did your AI session, which ones did participants use for those
we
who
use
haven't
Microsoft
done?
Designer
Okay.
because it happened to be a session on Microsoft Copilot and Edge and all of that, and Designer. So we use Designer. I love Designer. It's actually free. If for those of you that didn't know, you can't use a school account, but you can use a personal account and get into Microsoft Designer now. But the other day I was just trying it in the Edge browser, and it worked just as well.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't tried to make any AI images, but there is so many cool AI things out there that I would love to learn more about.
Yes, you should try it out, especially if you can actually now you could send them to, save it, send it to Walgreens and print it up as a poster.
Oh, wow. So your
So,
session that you did, and we have resources at the end, but was all about AI. So this is
yes,
how you use Lumio to get that. So
yes, that's the
everyone,
thing. So even though I was
Yep.
doing a Microsoft training, I used Lumio to engage the audience.
Yep.
Okay,
I love all these components.
thank you so much. I love them.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another way that you could use it. Instead of asking them to share an image, you could ask them to share a prompt of specific image you would create, and that would help your audience. And I don't know if I made this an individual handout, but let me just make sure. I'm gonna make this one an individual handout so you can see. So on this one, this would be good to talk about what are some prompts that you shared so that it can help engage teachers in helping each other be more specific in their prompts. Because then you could say, okay, can you show us your image? And then you shared your prompt so they could see how specific it was. And I'm just talking about this for AI, but you could use this for anything. If you were doing a training on any tool, you can change this. Again, this is a built-in, I did not create this. It was created by Lumio. I just adapted it for my needs. So you could change this to anything that you would want them to share about in your professional learning session.
I love it because it's the behind the thinking, right? It expands upon rather than just the end product. It's what was the thought process to get there? This
Yes.
is an awesome activity for PD, for students, for everybody.
So as you can see right now, I have it on the teacher activity. If I were doing this whole class, that's the way I would keep it on my my board for my participants. However, then to bring in that discussion, I can use the arrow to lower it, and I could ask, if you're willing to share yours in the chat, can you put your name, and Jennifer will tell me and I'll share yours.
Yeah. Well, and Jessica clicked the done button. So maybe
Right.
Christina says you can share mine.
Okay,
Fine.
Christina. Is it Christina Swenson?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to share Christina's. And so you can see she's she's typing it. And then if people are willing to share, you share, and then you can have a discussion about it. And you can say, hey, oh, did somebody similar say I'm a technology learning specialist and I need an image, So, so and then I could say to Christina, how did that prompt work for you? And then she would share. And so it's getting that participation and that engagement in.
That'd be neat to see the different decades, how she put 50 years. So Erin
Uh-huh.
and Jessica also said they are willing to have you share. I wonder
Okay.
what
So who did you say,
different
Jessica?
thinkings. Yep, Jessica.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Oops.
Aw.
Oh, create an image of a lightning bug in a PD session online. I love that.
That's cute.
Okay. All right. And who else said?
And Erin.
Okay.
And they come in alphabetically, but I still feel like I'm always looking for everybody's
Yeah,
name.
but is it Erin? Oh, Erin with an A or Erin with an
Erin, Erin.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't see hers up
I don't either.
there. Did you? Yeah, maybe she used a number.
Okay. I don't want to open
Or
somebody.
there's one with like a whole bunch of letters too.
Erin, do you know what yours is called? What you're
What
under?
name did you use? So while she's adding that to the chat, you can see anybody who clicked start, whatever name they came into the lesson, Monica's lesson, that's how it populates for
Mhm.
the teacher to see. So that's why we definitely love when students sign in as a student instead of making their own information.
Right. And you can see that they are in
Oh,
alphabetical order.
she's not sure. So Marianne and Tyler have also shared that they are happy for you to share. Maybe one more.
Okay, we'll do one more. There you go. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. And Tyler. Okay, so there, Tyler's there. Okay. And again, yes, when for those of you new, when your students are done, they click done and then you will see, oh, and see, this is awesome. So they put the image right in the center so that I didn't even think to have them put the image in the center.
Yeah.
So in 2024, I went to the UK. In 2023, I went to trips to London. Okay. So actually they used it in a little twist of what places that they traveled and showed them as a traveler. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good idea of how you could use it. Thank you all so much for participating. And so if you have questions about how to use the individual handout and sharing it, we have other videos. Lumio has lots of videos to help with that. Okay. I don't know if you've ever been to a PL session where there's those big wall charts with the sticky note, the sticky wall charts, and people would say, okay, go write your question down. And then we'll get to them when we have time. I always like to have a parking lot on Lumio. And, we usually build in a bathroom break to our session. So we say, okay, if you have questions, this is a great time to type in a question. And when we come back from our break, I'll address questions before I move on. So that's one of the things that I like to do. So for the parking lot, I did use the shout it out. And it should be started, but let's see, do I have to reset it? No, should be good, right? Just make sure. Oh, start. There we go. So I'm going to start the activity. So I did reset it. And then I chose to use the AI background for this one. And so when you start typing your responses, they'll come up here. So
Try the gear.
Yeah,
If
there
we
you
hit, you
go.
hit start, right? Yep. Yeah, there we go. If people were just thinking, takes a moment, give them some processing time, right? The wait time. So while those are popping in, this is where you can, in the settings, you can turn it off where see how like the first letters of everyone's names coming in, or you can make it anonymous.
Right.
But then the teacher still can see, even if it's anonymous.
Yes. And I love to, and then you can group them by responses, still going, no ideas yet. How can integrate tools in my pre-K class? Okay, so I think we have some other sessions too with these. There are lots of sessions today that you could
Yes.
find that out. Yes, thank you. So I didn't have a question yet. See, so no questions yet. See how we can group them by no questions yet, like all the no questions? Was the entrance ticket already won? Yes, the entrance ticket is, I'll show you, in the end, I'll show where that is, where you can find those entrance tickets. No questions yet. So like I can group them all, but also if there's one that I want to highlight, I can just click on it. So it blows it up so everyone can see that response better, which is another tool, another use of this tool that I love.
Yep. I love the shout it out. I used to use those like list, label, cluster kind of activities with the parking lot all the time for my students. I am
Right.
all about the sticky notes. So
Mhm.
this virtual option is great.
Yes, and this is also one that you could use for the entrance, for the opening activity that I did, that I used the sticky note. You could also use this if you want. Shout It Out has so many great purposes. Okay, so what is one thing you would like to pitch? Why should we use Lumio when compared with some? Oh, yikes. Okay, so I'm going to answer that question.
Oof.
It's easy, it's fun, it's engaging. It's free. Okay, so a lot of tools are not free. It is free. To a point, they have different levels, but it is free. It has so many aspects, and they have so many things that are ready-made that you can just tweak. I don't have to spend a lot of time creating something new,
Yeah.
but I
And I
can if
would,
I want to.
yes, you can. And I would love to add that if you do have the free account, so anybody can go get it. You have 50 megabytes of storage. So all these features, and I would say, if I was to say my little elevator pitch, I would say it's all teaching, like all this that you've done in one tab, pulled all kinds of stuff into one tab of your computer.
Okay, and I am gonna look. I saw. Is there a way to edit another Lumio presentation while you have one live? I would actually have to open another tab. I could sign into it. Well, no, but I think it would take me
Yeah,
to that one. So I don't know. Jennifer, do you know? I don't think
yeah,
there
you
is.
can't. So as a teacher, you're signed in once. You
Right.
can make like an incognito window, but I don't know how you would be able to do a live lesson and work on a different lesson at the same time. So
Yeah.
I would say do your editing, and then you could share a student link,
Mhm.
and then students could work on the lesson if you're not going to do it live. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And something, the way I look at it, even as a teacher, when I taught or when I do professional learning, things happen. Like even today, like things happen because I had gone through this whole presentation and I forgot to reset or whatever. We're all human, and it's good to show people that, hey, it was not a big deal that we had to go in and change that. And
right.
it's always a learning experience. And I used to do that with my kids too. If I had to figure something out, I did it with them, So I don't think it's too bad to edit while
No,
you're working.
no, I used to misspell all kinds of words. I'd have to go in and they're like, spell that one, and I'd edit and fix it.
Yep.
And
So
yeah,
if anyone else has a question that you really need answered, please make sure to put it in the chat. So because I want to make sure we get through everything. All right, so checking for
Um,
understanding.
Real quick, we did have a question about whether or not students can delete their responses once added to the shouted out.
I don't
no,
think
no.
so. No.
Once they add it, it becomes part of that screen. So the teacher can delete it. There's a little
Yes.
trash can that, like, if
Yes.
it's like, if they say, whoa, I didn't mean to add that, the teacher can quickly
Yeah.
delete that,
Let
but
me just
students
do that
aren't
real
able
quick. Let me
to.
see.
I
I
know
think when
secondary. Oops, go on. Sorry, Monica.
go ahead, go ahead. You see, if I click on this one, then I can delete that one.
Yeah, just like grab any. Yeah, there you go. You just
Yeah,
grab
and
it
I
to the
just grab it
trash.
to the delete button. See?
Yep.
And that's how you can delete it, especially if somebody accidentally puts a inappropriate response, that's how you get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go back to check for understanding. So we want to, again, get participants out of their seats with a game. I love the game features. They're so much fun. You can also group teammates for a monster quiz. Monster quizzes, they don't have to get out of their seat, but you could put them in groups. Even though they're working individually, you could still kind of put them in groups like seating arrangements just to get them out of their seat. So here's an example of a game show. I love this one, especially in person, but you can still do it. It's a little bit harder to do this one virtually, but you could say, you know, you 5 people are in this team and you 5 people are in this team. But for this game, when you're in an in-person session and you get them out of their seat, they spin the wheel and the question comes up and you ask them here, like if I were virtual, I could say, okay, what response do you think it is? But in person, they could actually get out of their seats. And I always have like half the group on one side of the room, half of the group on the other. And so I usually take a volunteer to come up, but the team can shout out the response to them too if they don't know the answer. So like this one just says, which task can Bing Chat perform to assist teaching and learning? Let's see, I think it's this one. Yep, see, and so it's correct. And then you click continue and they get 100 points. And if I put the sound, it's also a little bit of music. And I don't even remember the responses to this, but
But the concept we get, right?
yep, when you'll see, oh, I got it correct, look at that. Okay. And you hear the applause. So it's really kind of fun. So this is a fun game, especially for the in-person session. Think about doing that. You just, and like I said, for this game, you just add your own responses, your own questions, your own, you can do true and false, and you can do multiple choice. It's very easy to create. And then it's something that you can play in person.
Somebody
And
did
then-
put in the chat that they've done breakout rooms. Like if you're in a virtual session and you definitely want to do the game show, you could do
Yes.
breakout rooms. But I think
Yes.
I would pick Monster Quiz as a
Yeah,
way
I
to
would
do
pick,
virtual.
so personally for virtual, I would pick Monster Quiz. We have still been, I've still done this one in sessions, but I said, okay, I want you know, once they divide the team, go sit with your team. Okay, so one of the things I love for Monster Quiz is they design, so I have all these people, so I need to divide it into teams. It says 22 students can't join the game because the game is full. So the max teams are 9, but you can see where you can, it will group them for you, which I love. And then you can, if you're in person and you choose to use this one, you can go have them sit with that group. So it's also getting them, you know, because, you know, especially in school PL sessions, the 3rd grade teachers always sit with the 3rd grade teachers and the 1st grade teachers always sit with the 1st grade teachers. So this would get them to move and sit with other teachers and get a different perspective on things.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And
so
we know that applies to students as well, right?
Yes. Yes. They always
You
wanna
know
sit
who
with their
those
best friend.
students are or
Yes.
those teachers.
I should have gone back. So if it was for students, you can actually move kids around if you don't think they should be on the same team. Okay, and you can see people are responding. And so I always have this up and everybody's cheering. And like as it gets closer, you say, oh, go so, or come
Yeah.
on.
Oh.
And we teach them to root for each other.
Yeah, I love how it's when you get it right, it pops your name up. So you can have those cheerleading moments and those applauses. And you
Yes.
can't tell when it shimmies, that means there's an incorrect answer, but there's no risk of being called out, right? You don't feel like, okay, I'm too afraid to try.
Right.
So
It doesn't tell anybody who made the incorrect answer.
No. But on the student side or on the teacher side, the participant, it does still require them to get all of them correct. They get some supports along the way. So if you guys miss a few, so you can see what it looks like when you miss a question. But I love it. Still holds them accountable to get all the questions. They can't just give up.
Yes.
We'll
And
let
I'm
their
going
team
to end the
down.
quiz just because I want to make sure we get to the last segment also. So just to show you, when you end the quiz, it'll stop for you all and it'll say who was in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but you can review. So we can say, oh, yay, congratulations, Boxbusters. And then you can review the answers with everyone so that you can make sure that if they had some misconceptions, this is, this is what the answers are. So you can just go through the questions and go over them. Okay, just wanted to make sure you knew that you could do that. All right, and so the next steps. So for next steps, you need to have your audience share how they will use what they've learned, because they've just come to your session. You've given them all this wonderful tips and how to use a tool. You want them to use it. That's our whole goal as a professional learning specialist or as a instructional coach, right? We don't want them to just walk away. We want them, and you haven't bored them because you've engaged them through the whole session. So now we want them to use what they've learned. So some of the activities you can do that is, one is just kind of share your excitement. And again, I probably have to make that whole class whiteboard. So share your engagement about using AI for your classroom. You can use a sticker. So that's where I showed you the sticker, an image, a GIF, or a text. So here is where you would use those tools again. Here's where they have the stickers. So if you have a sticker, if you wanted to put a sticker, you could put a sticker. If you wanted to add an image, that's here also. If you wanted to add text, you would just click the A. And yeah, so I'm seeing all the stickers. It's so cool to have the stickers. I'm so excited they came out with the stickers.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be more coming, so keep an
Mhm.
eye out for those.
And I noticed one of the questions was, what is one of the new tools that one new features, and this is one of the new features that I love, because even for students, like if you were doing this with students, if you were doing an activity with students, you could go put a sticker on their individual handout to show that they were doing great. And because I used to always have to write text, you know what I mean, or find an image, and it took a little longer to find that image. So to have the stickers is so great. And I remember when I was doing this with first graders, and I put check plus, great job, or great thinking. And they're like, oh, somebody's writing on my screen. So the kids love that instant feedback, and stickers is a very quick way to do it. So that's one of my new favorite features. Okay, so that's one of the activities. And then the other one would be a 3-2-1. Again, this is in Lumio. So I'll show you in a minute where I found these things. So 3 ways you will implement the new tool, 2 people you will share it with, and 1 way to adapt it for learners. Because we all know, just like our students, we often have to differentiate our professional learning sessions. So it's really important to think about, okay, how will I adapt that for this particular audience? Like I used to work at 4 different schools. Okay, how will I adapt it for this school, or how will I adapt it for this grade level? So think about ways that you can do that. I'm just going to go ahead to the next one just to show you this is one that you can do. And then again, this is one of the sticky note handouts. How will you use what you learned today? And this one I made an individual handout, so you could type 3 different things that you would do, how you would use it. So you would type it on your sticky note, and then you'd have 3 different ways of how you will use what you learned.
Love it. And all those tools that students have on the side, right? They could use a pen, they could grab the A and type, create a text box. There's so many options.
Yes.
Right.
So back in 2015, I saw a presentation by Dave Burgess. I don't know if you've read his book, Teach Like a Pirate, but in his book, and one of the things he said is, would students buy tickets to your lessons in your classroom? And so I kind of adapted his quote to, would your teachers buy a ticket to your professional learning sessions? Would you, if you do a really good professional learning session and you engage them and you're going to offer another one, they will come. I know at one school, the principal wanted me to do these lunch and learns. It was optional for the teachers to come. And every grade level except one almost all the teachers came unless they had another meeting during their planning. So they would give up their planning sessions to come to my sessions because I made it engaging for them. And I, made it relevant to them and how they could use it. So just think about that when you are planning your professional learning sessions. And I hope that you can see how Lumio can really help engage those lessons and make those teachers want to come back because you've made it fun for them.
I love all the activities that you've incorporated that really highlighted not only the tool, but the learners, the adult learners as
Yes.
well.
Okay, so we do have
Well,
some
yep.
resources for you that, so we're going to put a link in the chat for you for resources, but you will also get the resources in a follow-up email from this session. And any other questions in the chat?
Yeah, so we have some time to handle additional questions. Someone's asking about printing exit tickets. So you
So
can,
go ahead, Jennifer.
I was going to say, you can download the file as a PDF and then print those. Depends on how you're collecting or providing feedback to students. I know I always like to suggest taking like a screen capture so that you can keep it digital.
That's what I was going to say. So when I would have things like when I was teaching the gifted endorsement class where that was being done for a pass fail grade, I did the screen captures and had that as like their evidence. So that helped.
So the book that you were talking about at the end, it's Teach Like a Pirate.
By Dave
Someone asked
Burgess.
that.
You can get it on
Yep.
Amazon. It's a great book. It talks about being an engaging teacher, really, but I just adapted it to professional learning.
Thank you, Emily.
I do want to go ahead and show, because a lot of people, were in the one question thing that we did with the shouted out, did ask about where I found these tools. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the lesson again. And I'm going to click the plus sign so I can show you. So the activating prior knowledge. So I just click the plus sign when I'm in Lumio and I'm setting up my presentation. It's activate prior knowledge, and you'll see that there's a KWL. There's what do you want to know about a topic? Is this statement true or false? So I took, entrance ticket and draw what you know about the topic. So there's several that you can do here. Okay. And then there's also the graphic organizers. And there are so many graphic organizers, mind maps. There's just so many to choose from. I've used this mind map a lot. There's the freeform web that I used. This KWL, you could actually change the wording to anything you want it to be. In my presentation I'm doing tomorrow, I use this one. There's so many that you don't have to design yourself, so it's pretty awesome. And then, of course, you can always search the Lumio library here, and you can be a little bit more specific. Oh, here was the questioning and reflection. So I put, how do you feel about this topic? That's the one that I use, and I changed it. And this was one of the 3, 2, 1 countdown that I used, and I just edited it. And you can edit the colors and things like that. Share 3 things you've learned, 1-minute paper. I love the 6-word summary because that really gets to that higher level thinking, because they have to narrow it down to 6 words. And then how would you explain what you've learned? You'll see if you come to my presentation tomorrow on differentiating learning, you'll see I've shown a bunch of these for different levels of differentiation. So, and then here's where the game-based activity is, the response, the shouted out, everything is right here. So easy.
All at your fingertips.
All at your fingertips.
Okay.
Any other questions in the chat?
Emily's handled a couple of them.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you. There was something about some math tools, but there's some new stuff on the roadmap. So definitely find a math session if you're interested in learning more about that as well. Lots of like, this was great. Thank you so much. So lots of great feedback as well in the chat. So I am going to say thank you, Monica. You're sharing your insights and your knowledge with us today. I love this session. I could listen to all these different activities and elements and We could be here all day. I would love it. It's very informative session. And thank you for giving up your valuable time with us today to share what your knowledge is and how you definitely lead your PD sessions. And engagement is keyword here. Lots of engagement. 2 things to do next, everyone. Monica has put up the survey. If you would like to give us some feedback about your session today, you can use the link. Emily's adding all of the links to the chat. But at the end of this survey, it will allow you to download a PD certificate and you can customize it with your name and date for attending with us today. Some social sharing. So I loved how the chat was really like sharing ideas and taking off with things that you've said. And so there was a lot of back channel additional engagement, which was incredible to see everybody learning from each other in this very nice learning community this morning. So social sharing, we would love for you to share some tidbits of what you've learned from this session. Share your thoughts on social media along with a graphic that Emily we'll be adding, and tag it at Lumio Social with a hashtag Lumio Challenge and hashtag Lumio Palooza. And if you do, that's going to be monitored and you will be entered to win a gift card. So there's a graphic that you can use. Also, the resources that Monica had up a moment ago and Emily has placed in the chat. Resources to continue your learning of Lumio along the way, as well as Monica's resources and the tools that she's pulled, she's customized. It's all wrapped up with a nice little bow for you to be able to use it in your sessions as well. So follow-up resources and the recording will be in your inbox early next week, so you can review any of the information that you might have missed. Somebody asked, will I get to watch this recording? And yes, you'll have that in a follow-up email. So if you weren't able to attend live any of the other sessions that you have registered for, know that once you've registered, you will also get the recording for everything that you've signed up for. Thank you for joining. There's a lot to say here at the end. Thank you for joining our Lumio Palooza session with Monica. And we hope to see you all in future sessions. And I know Monica has a session she's also doing tomorrow. So definitely want to give a plug for that.
Yes,
Differentiation.
And just thank you so much, everybody, for attending. It's awesome. And thanks for participating because it makes it so much better.
And I am seeing that there might be an error with the certificate. So we have email addresses. As long as you have completed, we will see if we will email you your certificate. As long as you have, yeah, it says the file is empty. Not sure exactly what that means. And I don't think I'll have a chance to problem solve that before the session ends. So we have your email addresses, or reach out to us and we will make sure that you have the certificate for Monica's session. So thank you again, all of you, for participating. Thank you, Emily. The chat was full of wonder, full of excitement, and she answered everything great. Like, I saw some really great questions. So thank you, Emily. And thank you, Monica, again. Definitely
Thank you,
want to
Jennifer
thank
and
you.
Emily.